Hello, everyone. My name is Vanessa Codorniu, and I am a clinical hypnotist, an energy worker, a teacher, a speaker, a writer, a Latinx Bruja, and the founder of the School of the Healing Artes. And so I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about why Reiki, why now, why energy medicine, why now. And so, energy medicine has been around from the beginning of time. We may not have total proof of this, but when we feel into it, when you think into it, you think of a mom holding her baby, right? Even modern day, when the belly hurts and we're rubbing it, we're praying over it. We're looking back into different cultures around the world, looking at sound healing, looking at breath work, looking at dancing, at movement, at chanting, looking at prayer, looking at hands on healing, looking at long distance energy healing, and then sympathetic magic. Sympathetic magic is usually when, let's say, you take a doll, right, to represent someone or something, and then you do like a healing process on this object, rock, living thing, or doll, and you send them a blessing or a healing. And so, energy healing, energy medicine has been around for a very, very long time. Now, when April came around last year in 2020, most of my coaching clients fell out because they lost their businesses, they lost their jobs, their husbands, their partners, their wives lost their work, and they found themselves in a place where they were so scared for the future that they dropped out. And so I found myself, and I'm someone that in my business, I have a coaching practice along with one-offs, with hypnosis packages, Akashic record packages. And then, of course, I've been teaching for 10 years online and really much longer offline. And so I'm always doing something, speaking, writing, all this. There's very diverse offerings in my work and working with young women leaders, right, at the Bella Abzug Young Women's Leadership Institute, Bali. And so I found myself in this place where in March, April, where my mom was about to cross over. She was very ill. My dad had already suddenly left, and suddenly most of my one-on-one clients fell off. And that's where I went to spirit, right? In the difficult moments when we're going through serious things, I think that's where we really need to rely on our spiritual practices, on our tools, on our sacred gifts. And I did that immediately. I stepped up to my altar. I have an ancestor altar for basically all my life. And I lit some candles, had my glasses of agua, right, mi bobita, and I prayed and I said, what next for me? And I just wanted to let everybody know I've been online successfully, right, for now going into 10 years. In 2009, 2010, I was laid off and I wound up renting a space where I lived in Queens and wound up supporting myself fully, living alone in New York City. And then I went back to a corporate job because I had a surgery that I needed, right? And so I was like, well, let me go back to corporate, do what I need to do. And at the same time, I still had my part time work. And then I got laid off again, right, in 2012, right a day before my surgery. So, Spirit's like, girl, your time's up. And I was like, really, Spirit? You could have waited till I at least came out of surgery and was healthy and fine. But as life would have it, it really forced me to take a lifetime of healing work already at that stage by 2012 and step into the work. But jumping back to 2020, I asked Spirit what to do. And what I saw was that this was an incredible opportunity for people to take a pause, that the pandemic was going to last longer than we thought. My husband thought that it was going to be, he's like, it's going to pass, don't worry. I was like, it's not. And I knew that we needed support. So I started doing weekly free meditations. And I haven't done a weekly free anything in ever, right? In like the 20 plus years of my work, but I felt called to do it. And in that moment, too, the whisper, the divine knowing that people needed a practical process to be able to manage their energy. So I've realized this for a long time. And, as a young girl, we cleanse with huevos, right? With the limpias, we did the limpias. And so we cleanse with eggs, we cleanse with herbs like baños, like with ruda, with other herbs that we had, and prepared special baths. So we were aware of healing and managing our energy. But this was a really unprecedented event. We're looking at April, May, June of last year, 2020, soon to be 2 years ago. Mind blown. And it was an unprecedented event. And so many people were leaving work. So many people were working from home. So many people lost their businesses, where they had brick and mortar or where they had a job that relied on being in public with many people. And I was just called to step up and do Pay What You Can Usui Reiki Ryoho trainings. Now, I think that some folks were annoyed that I did that. They're like, wow, she's a coach and now she's lowering um, the credibility of the coach world. I heard that from some folks. And I was like, first of all, I'm not just a coach, I'm also a healer, a speaker, a reader, a writer, astrologer. I'm a lot of things. I've been a lot of things a long time. I knew that folks needed a practical tool to access what they already had within them, right? Remember, we talked about how culturally and globally we've had energy healing and we've had spiritual healing, long distance healing, all of that type of healing for a very long time. So I knew people needed, well, a practical skill, something that we needed immediately. And so I created the Pay What You Can. And the range of the payments was even lower than I paid many, many years ago. I did that on purpose. And as I shared, it wasn't because I didn't love myself. It wasn't because I didn't think I was worthy. It wasn't because I didn't think I was worth it or anything like that. Because my first year online ever, I did a $9,000 program, right? So, I knew I was worthy. But I knew that I would be taken care of, that I had to step out on faith, that I had to really answer to the next level of my calling and reach as many people as possible. And what a better way to reach more people than possible, especially during a pandemic where people are losing their lives, their health, their businesses, their jobs, their minds, where marriages are getting so much pressure because now they're around each other 24/7 and the kids are not even in school and now they're home. And a parent who used to leave the house and focus on their job all day now either has to work from home or not have a job or try to be a teacher at the same time while trying to have a job or get one and then manage the home at the same time. So these are stressful times. And what ensued was that in a year's time, from April of 2020 till April of 2021, like 1,000 people came through. And by the way, I never had a group larger than 35 because I capped it off at 35. And what wound up happening, because it wasn't a downloadable program, it wasn't a program that you could just like watch on your own time. It was a live event that I held space for. People became best friends. People created relationships all over the world. Folks from all walks of life came, and a majority of Latinx and people of color, right? Black and brown, Latinx, people who are here from other countries started to show up. And it was really beautiful because that was the goal. My guidance was step in, hold space, people going to need it. And lo and behold, boy, did we need it. When we started to see everything that was happening politically, everything that was happening in terms of these really in your face expressions of racism and homophobia and just terror of the unknown or terror of the different that we saw, and then the extremism, right, that we witnessed with the presidency, and also our takes and our stands on vaccination, no vaccination. We just went through it. And the whole topic of this little talk was like, why energy, why now? We are made of energy. Everything is energy. Our thoughts have energy. Our feelings have energy. Some people who are sensitive like me or an empath can walk into a room, and if somebody's had a fight there, we can feel the energy that something's happened there. I am one of those people, and I'm a psychic medium, so I can also pick up like what exactly happened. And so energy management, learning how to create boundaries, learning how to honor our own energy, learning how to say no, learning how to give ourselves the love and support that maybe we didn't receive in our family, learning to self-soothe in a way that is supportive, that is loving for us, super key. And so we think about it, we were in a pressurizing time, experiencing a very pressurizing time. At the same time, for many, it was a time for a pause, it was time for a break. And so why I share all the negative things that the pandemic brought, and I think there were over 700,000 deaths, right? So I myself had COVID at one point, had very mild symptoms, thankfully. But I know so many people who passed, and so many people who passed from other situations, including 3 of my own family members. And so when people say to me, why energy, why now? I'm like, well, energy should have been key. I believe firmly that we should learn about energy healing and we should learn about energy management and understanding our intuitive system in school. That's something we should learn as children, how to take responsibility, how to say no, how to create boundaries, how to honor our truth, our inner knowing, and also to explore how do we receive intuition, right? How do we receive our inner knowing? Our intuition deciphers energetic information. We sense, we feel, we see, we know, right? And some people smell, some people have other gifts, some people taste. And so the reason that I started doing a Pay What You Can, Usui Reiki, Ryoho online, it is the Japanese lineage. And we very much in the training that I teach honor the Japanese lineage and honor it very much so. And have always, my teacher has gone to Japan. She's passed away now for 3 years. And she even had me repeat in class over and over with the right accent, Reiki, Reiki. Um, that using Reiki, and there's so many other, there's EFT and there's sound healing, aromatherapy. There's just so many different energy healings. But the reason that I like it is because being an empath and having a very fluid and very expansive and, aura, and being very much a psychic sponge from a very young age, and trust. I think that so many folks who have anxiety and other stressors, a small part of it, besides trauma or other reactions that they may have, is because they're psychic sponges, because they pick up way too much information, that the thoughts, the feelings of others around them, and they haven't learned how to create energetic boundaries around them. And so what better time than during a pandemic to learn what energy is, to learn what a biofield is, to learn what the energy systems are. And from India, we get them as chakras, the spinning wheels of light. And in the Andean culture, I'm studying Andean shamanism right now, they're called nawis, right? It's like the sacred eye with the vibrations around, the light expanding out. And there may be other cultures where we have energies of light. And each of these energy centers are a storehouse of information, of untapped power and resources, and yet we can be drained. And so I think that we should be teaching this in school. But when people ask me, well, why now? What better time? If we didn't start from the beginning of time, which I think we should have, let's do it during this difficult time. Let's do it in this unknown time. During times of uncertainty, let's not reach for the bottle or whatever else we reach for another video game, not knocking a drink or a video game, but let's reach for something that can help us self-soothe, that gives us information about ourselves and gives us a peaceful way to restore ourselves. The amazing thing about Reiki is that you don't need to know the specifics of when the trauma happened. Like when I was 5, this happened. When I was 6, this and that. When you connect to the flow of universal life force energy that is already flowing within you, but now you are connected to it on a whole nother level, the energy goes where it needs to go. And you don't have to work hard. And that is an idea that I think that we really need to embody in the world today, where we do not need to overdo, really push, really shove the healing and I've got to really, get in there. It will come when we allow ourselves to be aligned with what is already happening within us. And what is happening within us? We have a soul. We are an embodied soul. We are a soul that came into this life, and now we're living through this vehicle, our bodies. And unfortunately, in capitalistic society and this systemic oppression and all of this that we're dealing with, it is like, go, go, go. We're in a society, in a world that does not really honor rest or stopping or even self-loving. I think that now we're seeing more wellness, now we're seeing more spirituality, but I dare say it's because it's also being tagged along with a really rich, hefty price tag, right? Those, retreat spaces that are like for 10K and such and all that. Now, I'm not against people making beautiful money at all, or abundance or anything like that. I love abundance. I have abundance in all ways. I am saying that what has been true, that we have a soul within us, that we have ways to understand ourselves, have been mostly underground for, centuries. And that now it's becoming more commonplace. And so if you feel the call, know that you have always been connected to your energy. Know that you have always been intuitive. know that some of the dis-ease, not like disease, but dis-ease that you have, uneasiness, may be because you're highly intuitive being who's picking up thoughts, beliefs, energies, not only personally of your interactions, but of those you love in your community and your family and your relationships. And then the energy of the collective, which has been really crazy heavy. And so for anybody who's asked me, why Reiki, why now, why energy healing, Vanessa, that's pretty much why. Should have been taught to us before we even reached kindergarten and like stepped up along the way. All right. But if not, let's start wherever we're at. And so if you feel called, if you want to explore it, reach out to thebizbruja.com, just go on my website. A lot of my, okay, so I want to talk a little bit about something else that really excites me, makes me happy. The thing that makes me happy is, so I've trained with a lot of people and beautiful, amazing, wonderful people of so many different, right, teachers. And even with Reiki, by the way, with Reiki, I first got initiated. I forget her name because she was a little odd when I shared that I could see the symbols when I was 22. But then when I was a little older, I studied Essential Reiki with Diane Stein. She was wonderful, and a couple of other teachers. And then from there, I went on to work with Stacey Davidoff. And she passed away 3 years ago, and she was wonderful in New York City. And because she saw that I already knew so much from Essential Reiki, and I went to try to work at a wellness center, and they were like, "Oh, you need Usui Reiki Ryoho." So I went back and I paid for second and third A and B. And she's like, "You know so much, I feel bad. Let me also train you in Violet Flame. Let me also train you in Karuna Ki." So I'm a master teacher in Usui Reiki Ryoho, Violet Flame, Karuna Ki, and Essential Reiki. And I've been doing it, over 25 years. And I use Reiki every morning, even if it's a little bit, to work on myself. And then I use it to clear the space in my workspace and my office space. So if you feel called to an energy modality, if you feel called to understand your energy field, trust yourself. Trust yourself, go towards it, explore it, thebizbruja.com. Oh, this is the excited thing, because I went off on a tangent. The excited thing that I was is that I had amazing teachers, but they didn't like set up situations where their students could teach, right? And that's okay. I think that's going above and beyond in a way. It's like they just here to teach you and then you move on with your life, right? But I always had a dream of holding space for up and coming, especially Black and Indigenous and also Latinx and really everyone, but focusing on people who haven't been focused on in the past to be able to step up and teach. And so this year in the fall of 2021, I've already had 4 teachers who went through the Master Teacher Program who have taught Reiki Level 1. And so I just come in the beginning, kind of do a little meditation and then let them run the whole thing. And now we did a Reiki Level 2, and I had somebody come in and teach the symbols. And that's my dream. My dream is to have the school grow, so more and more students could step into their teaching, and then maybe they'll jump off and go do their own thing. For any teachers out there, if I invite you to create more opportunities for your students, create more opportunities, create from an open-hearted space. There is no lack in the world. There's always more people. There's always more opportunities. There's just so much for all of us. And so that's kind of like what I had on my mind today. Sorry that I got lost in the middle there, but it's been a long, long day. I had a video summit interview today, and then I taught a 4.5-hour Reiki Level 2. So I wanted to just share that with you. Sending y'all so much love. Energy is everything. Learning about it is key to our wellness, to our survival, to our thriving, to our mental, emotional, and physical health. Sending love. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on the Biz Bruja on Instagram. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.